are you crazy? The fall will probably kill you.
There's one guy brings the items, and the other guy pays.
What about the nurse that lives across the hall from you? She seems kind of nice.
Secure the engine room, then find me a date.
I'm multitasking.
Shoot him in the face.
I hate to shatter your ego, but this ain't the first time I've had a gun pointed at me.
You don't take your fucking end off that case, it'll be your last.
Stop causing
Just.
Hey, maybe you haven't been keeping up on current events, but we just got our asses kicked, pal. Look.
Marion, don't look at it. Shut your eyes, Marion. Don't look at it, no matter what happens.
Smell it? You smell it? Napalm.
Hello, napalm, son. We couldn't play all that clip because we got more than 8 seconds, but I like the rest of that clip. It seems like I'm always commenting on it now after we play the intro, but I need to change the intro. I think it's too long. I don't know. But welcome to Good Cinema. Tonight we got a good one. This is probably the year 96, 97 is the year I kind of got really hardcore into like film. You know what I mean? Like I want to know all the best filmmakers, not just watch a movie. And I remember this movie very specifically came out the year after Pulp Fiction. And I think Boogie Nights came out the same year this movie did. Also Titanic, but we can forget about that one because it's not my kind of movie. And the only reason this movie didn't win more Oscars is probably because Titanic came out that year. But it's a LA, and if you're like, well, what the fuck are y'all talking about, Matt? I'm talking about this movie. It's LA Confidential. It starred Kevin Spacey, Russell Crowe, Guy Pearce, Kim Basinger, and Danny DeVito was also in it. And I can't remember that guy's name.
There's a bunch of people in this.
There's a bunch of people in it that became famous. And really, honestly, Russell Crowe and Guy Pearce were not household names at the time.
Yeah.
And there was I watched the behind the scenes about this, and they were like, a lot of people were like, why are you hiring a guy from New Zealand and a guy from Australia to play the leads in a movie about Los Angeles Police Department? But he said they were perfect for it. And here's some of the cast. There you go. I think his name's Cromwell. Wasn't he in
James Cromwell?
Yeah, James Cromwell. He was also in Star Trek First Contact.
He's been in a lot of things.
He's been in a lot of movies. Not just that, but that's what comes to mind. Of course, the very lovely, although she was in her 40s at the time, but still gorgeous. Kim Basinger.
He played the president in one of those Harrison Ford Jack Ryan movies.
The always beautiful Kim Basinger, in my opinion. Yeah. She was supposed to be kind of like another thing I can say about this film that we'll get into later is the costumes and the hairstyle. One of my big complaints about Hollywood movies when they do a period piece like this, right, is the actors and actresses have modern haircuts. Like, it's just not, you know what I mean? If you look at another one here, look how young Russell Crowe is. This looks like a 1950s haircut, right?
Yeah. Especially for a cop.
Especially for a cop, yeah. And so this is when Los Angeles, then it's kind of like they're trying to repair their image, right? Because there have been I think there have been some dirty shenanigans going on in the police department, but they're trying to clean it. They're trying to it looks like they're trying to clean up organized crime, like Mickey Cohen. So they take stuff from the real headline. This is based on a James Ellroy novel called LA Confidential. It's part of a series of 4 books that were all you know what I mean? They were all connected. And it was called the LA Quartet.
Oh, okay.
And so a lot of these characters, yeah. So they wanted to adapt this, but in adapting this, they had to kind of change the ending a little bit because in the original, there's another book before this one. The shootout at the Victory Motel took place the first of it. And then these characters weren't involved in it, but they said, we're just going to use that at the end and change it up to kind of put a ribbon on the end of this case. And I also think it's great about this movie, in my opinion, that we're just going to get into it a little bit. I'll ask for you guys. it's like the story that's woven into everything, right? Like Kevin Spacey's character, Vince Sanz, has got this case in Vice Squad where he's like looking into these guys that have prostitutes that look like famous Hollywood movie stars. And he finds out that case intermingles with his. And we also go back over, it looked like we go over like several months too, because they go into that thing was called the Night Owl Massacre. And Guy Pearce's character is like the hero of the Night Owl Massacre case or whatever. And he comes to find out that the guys that they were bad guys, but the guys that they pinned it on had nothing to do with it. And it goes deeper than that. And so like they try to pit him and Russell Crowe against each other. But what I mean, it's like very film noir. Remember like the old 1940s movies?
Yes.
With Bogart and like, so it's got this cool, like stylized. I mean, just look at some of the, we got like it's the end of it, I think, and just the way they film it.
Yeah, how they film it, costuming, it just had that feel to it.
Very stylized,
Yeah.
and also I think the show Badge of Honor was supposed to be Dragnet, right? The show that Kevin Spacey was like a technical advisor on. And there's Guy Pearce again. Here we go. And she gets involved with Russell Crowe, of course. And this guy right here, the guy that plays the young up and coming actor, got in trouble with the weed. I also like the way they talk about it like hopheads. Like these guys are fiends, they're dope fiends. He was in a show called The Mentalist. If you remember, there was a show on CBS called The Mentalist, and he was like, he was the lead character. He was the mentalist. And of course, Danny DeVito plays the little skeezy tabloid reporter. And actually, the tabloid that he runs and writes for, Hush Hush magazine, was an actual scandal rag in the 1950s and 60s.
Yeah. And he kind of quasi narrates the film.
Yeah, until he gets something happen to him too later.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's another. I like that picture too. The way they did that. All right, we'll look at the Wikipedia page. And everybody that's watching, thank you for watching. And please, everybody watching and everybody watching the replay, please hit that like button. Okay, here we go. LA Confidential is a 1997 American neo-noir crime thriller film directed and produced and co-written by Curtis Hanson. You may remember Curtis Hanson for some of his other films like The River Wild that came out in 1994. The screenplay was by Hanson and Brian Helgeland and is based on James Ellroy's 1990 novel, the third book in his LA Quartet series. The film tells the story of a group of LAPD officers in 1953 in the intersection of police corruption and Hollywood celebrity. The title refers to the 1950 scandal magazine Confidential, portrayed in the film as Hush Hush. At the time, actors Guy Pearce and Russell Crowe were relatively unknown in North America. One of the film's backers, Peter Dennett, was worried about the lack of established stars in the lead roles, but supported Hanson's casting decisions, and Hanson had the confidence to also recruit Kevin Spacey, Kim Basinger, and Danny DeVito. It premiered at the Cannes Film Festival on May 14th, 1997, and was released by Warner Brothers on September 19th, 1997. The film was a critical and commercial success. It grossed $126.2 million against a $35 million budget and received a critical acclaim for acting, writing, directing, editing, and Jerry Goldsmith's musical score. It was nominated for 9 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. It won 2, including for Best Supporting Actress for Kim Basinger and Best Adapted Screenplay. Titanic won in every other category for which LA Confidential was nominated. So it had the bad luck of going up against, Titanic that year. The Library of Congress, in 2015, the Library of Congress selected LA Confidential for preservation in the United States National Film Registry as a culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. And here's the plot. Basically, in 1954, the LAPD aims to improve its public image of following decades of corruption. Career-focused Sergeant Edmund Exley lives in the shadow of his legendary detective father, whose murder was never identified. Exley names the suspect Rollo Tomasi, representing any criminal who escapes justice. The Jack Vincennes is played by Kevin Spacey. He's a famed seeking narcotics officer. He's in it for the glory. He always collaborates with tabloid journalist Sid Hudgens, played by DeVito, to perform high-profile celebrity arrests. And then you have volatile officer Wendell Bud White, played by Russell Crowe, who likes to use violence to interrogate and intimidate suspects, particularly people that beat up women, because his father murdered his mother in front of him. So we got Kevin Spacey as Detective Jack Hollywood Vincennes, Russell Crowe's officer Wendell Bud White, Guy Pearce as Detective Lieutenant Edmund Shotgun Ed Hexley, James Cromwell as Captain Dudley Smith, Kim Basinger as Lynn Bracken, Danny DeVito, Sid Hudgens, David Strathairn as Pierce Morehouse Patchett, and it goes on and on. I don't want to read all of them, but you get the point. So he had read a half a dozen of James Ellroy's books before LA Confidential, Curtis Hanson, the director. He was drawn to the characters, not the plot. He said, what hooked me on them was that as I met them, one after the other, I didn't like them, but as I continued reading, I started to care about them. Ellroy's novel also made Hanson think about Los Angeles, providing him an opportunity to set a movie at the point in time when the whole dream of Los Angeles from the apparently golden era of the 20s and 30s was being bulldozed. So the screenwriter Brian Helgeland was originally signed to Warner Brothers to write a Viking film with director Uli Edel, and then worked on an unproduced modern-day King Arthur story. He was a longtime fan of Ellroy's novels. When he heard that Warner Brothers had acquired the rights to LA Confidential in 1990, he lobbied to script the film, but the studio was talking only to well-known screenwriters. So Hanson had seen Russell Crowe in a movie called Romper Stomper and found him repulsive and scary, but captivating. The actor had read Ellroy's Black Dahlia, but not LA Confidential. When he read the script, Crowe was drawn to Bud White's self-righteous moral crusade. Crowe fit the visual preconception of Bud White, and Hanson put the actor on tape doing a few scenes from the script and showed it to the film's producers. Guy Pearce auditioned, and Hanson felt that he was very much what I had in mind for Ed Exley. The director purposely did not watch the actor in the movie Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, afraid that it might influence his decision, as it did with Crowe. Hanson taped Pearce and showed it to the producers, who agreed he should be cast as Ed. Michelin was against casting two Australians in the American period piece. Pearce wryly noted in a later interview that while he and Crowe grew up in Australia, he was born in England to a New Zealand father, while the Maori Crowe is a New Zealander too. Crowe and Pearce were also relative unknowns in North America, and Michelin was equally worried about the lack of stars, but he supported Hanson casting because he casted Basinger, DeVito, and Spacey to fill out the rest of the cast, I guess.
Yeah, I think was this the movie that broke Russell Crowe?
Kind of. I think that Gladiator came out right after this, so yeah.
Okay.
So I believe this was before Gladiator. I'll have to check on that. Hey, John, how you doing? I'm trying not to bore everybody with all this stuff, but
well, I like it. I like all this film stuff.
The third Australian actor who was an unknown to American audiences at the time was Simon Baker. Here's a picture of him, I think. Yeah, there he is. Later, he starred in the television series The Mentalist in 2008, I think, is when it ended, the 2015. My stepdad loved that show. Hanson felt the character of Jack Vincennes was sort of a movie star among cops, and thought of Spacey with his movie star charisma, casting him specifically against type. The director was confident that the actor could play the man behind the veneer, the man who also lost his soul. And when he gave him the script, he told him to think of Dean Martin while in the role. Hanson cast Basinger because he felt that she was the character to me, what beauty today could project the glamour of Hollywood's golden age. She does have like a classic like look.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
That was perfect, right, to cast her.
Yeah. He gave the cast and crew points and counterpoints to capture LA in the 50s. Hanson held a mini film festival showing one film a week. They started with the bad and the beautiful because it epitomized the glamorous Hollywood look. Also, In a Lonely Place because it revealed the ugly underbelly of Hollywood glamour. Also, Don Siegel's lineup and Private Hell 1936 for their lean and effective style, and Kiss Me Deadly because it was so rooted in the futuristic 50s of the atomic age. Hanson and the film's cinematographer, Dante Spinotti, studied Robert Frank's 1958 photographic book, The Americans, and felt that the influence of his work was in every aspect of the film's visuals. They shot the film on Super 35 widescreen format with spherical lenses, which Spinotti's opinion conveyed the feel of a still photograph. You know what? That's a good point. Like, I don't know a lot of technical aspects, but when you look at this looks like I'm looking at a Hollywood star from the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives maybe that's the stuff that the technical stuff that is talked about gives the whole film a certain texture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not hard to explain. It feels like it's in the 50s, you know?
Exactly. We were talking about that earlier. It's just like I feel like I'm traveling a time machine on my TV. I was watching the thing like, yeah, this has just got that classic feel to it. Like
those old cars, man.
I know, all these amazing old cars, and I almost feel like Sinatra is going to walk by any minute or something. Anyway, okay. So here, before filming took place, Hanson brought Crowe and Pierce to Los Angeles for 2 months to immerse them in the city and the time period. He also got them dialect coaches, showed them vintage police training videos, and introduced them to real-life police officers. Pierce found the contemporary police force had changed too much to be useful for research, and didn't like the police officer he rode along with because Pierce felt he was racist. He found the police films more valuable because there was a real sort of stiffness and woodness about these people. Now, I get the part. I don't know about. I can't confirm the part about racist or whatever, but I would get that maybe watching a modern police officer work would be like wouldn't help you much, really, honestly.
No.
Because look, you know, like they could beat people with phone books back then.
Yeah. Yep.
For 6 weeks, Crowe, Pierce, and Hanson and Helgeland conducted rehearsals, which consisted of their discussing each scene in the script. As other actors were cast, they would join them for rehearsals. They filmed it at the helicopters was shot at the Linda Vista Hospital in Los Angeles area, and other several famous Hollywood areas like the Formosa Cafe in West Hollywood. And they picked old classic places. See, look at this, like the Hollywood Boulevard, the Frolic Room on Hollywood Boulevard, Crossroads of the World. Okay. And When Worlds Collide what they say here? It says, and in the Frolic Room on Hollywood Boulevard and the Crossroads of the World was an outdoor shopping mall dressed as a movie theater where the premiere of When the Worlds Collide takes place in the beginning of the film. Pachette's home is the Lovell House, a famous international style mansion designed by Richard Neutra. Bracken's house is at 501 Wilcox Avenue in the affluent Hancock Park neighborhood. Oh, yeah, that's fancy looking. Overlooking the Wilshire Country Club. The house required $75,000 in renovations to transform it into the Spanish-style home described in the script.
Yeah.
So they did a lot of stuff like that. Inglewood Oil Field. They built that. Now, what they did there on the Inglewood Oil Fields, you know, the set called the Victory Motel.
Mm-hmm.
In the book, the Victory Motel is an old 1920s motel, like roadside motel and it had been dilapidated and no, it was the derelict, and so they had to build the whole set, and they built it out there in the old fields, like out of the way, like so it looked like it was out of the way, I guess, from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
The Jerry Goldsmith scored the movie. He was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Dramatic Score, but lost to James Horner's Titanic. Yeah, you couldn't beat that Titanic.
Well, James Horner's a beast anyway.
Yeah, it's hard to. But it grossed $64 million in the United States and $61 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $126 million. So it was a pretty big success.
Yeah, considering.
Yeah. It says here that Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 99% approval rating, an average rating of 9 out of 10, out of 162 of 163 reviews being positive. I wonder what the negative one, just somebody being a dick. Fuck this movie.
I don't know. I like Titanic. I think Titanic was a great movie. But I like this one. I like this one.
Yeah.
I like this one better.
Yeah, it's also a visual, like,
yeah,
overload. Right? Great, like, just achievement.
Yeah, it has everything. It's got adventure, it's got romance, and like in the end, when that boat's breaking apart, it's wild. But I don't know. This movie was more engaging to me.
Well, look here. We actually agree with Roger Ebert one time. Jeff, look here. It says, film critic Roger Ebert gave the film 4 out of 4 stars and described it as a seductive, beautiful, cynical, and twisted, and one of the best films of the year.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree with him there. But you know what? It's kind of funny that we can agree with him on that. But I guess a wrong clock is right. What's the time?
Yeah, true.
And then we got another one. I like this one right here. Destin Howe's review for the Washington Post praised the cast. He said Pierce makes a wonderful prude who gets progressively tougher and more jaded. New Zealand-born Crow has a unique and sexy toughness. He says, imagine Mickey Rourke without the attitude. Although she's playing a stock character, Kim Basinger exudes a sort of chaste sultriness. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. In his review for the Globe and Mail, Liam Lacey wrote, the big star is Los Angeles itself. Just like in Roman Polanski's depiction of LA in the 1930s in Chinatown. The atmosphere and detailed production design are a rich gel which strands of narrative from the form together. Okay, words are running together. I've been reading too long. Time Magazine ranked LA Competition the best film in 1997. The National Film Society, Film Critics Society, also ranked as the year's best film, and voted Curtis Hanson as their favorite director of the year. The New York Film Critics Circle also voted LA Competition the year's best film. In addition, ranking Hanson as the best director of the year. So let's put it this way: it had a lot of accolades. All right. It's also the SAG. It says the Writers Guild of America ranked the screenplay the 60th best screenplay out of 101 of all time. Damn.
Yeah.
That's not surprising. All right, that's a lot of talking I did there. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So we'll go around here. Yes, the Horner. Yeah, he scored Braveheart too, didn't he? I forgot about it. He did a lot of big films. It's like him and Danny Elfman and John Williams. Yeah. Also, the guy that did this one too. I think I've heard of him before. But yeah, like it's kind of hard to beat James Horner. James Horner did so many great scores.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we'll go around the horn here, and let's just talk about the cast, because I think one of the big stars of this movie is that there's not just one big star in this movie. No. It's an ensemble effort. So, Jeff.
Yeah, you get the feeling that kinda Russell Crowe's character gets a lot of screen time, but there's a couple of different plot lines running. It seems like that intersect, just like you said about how the cases overlap each other, and the Rollo Tomasi thing.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of the MacGuffin, of the whole movie.
Yeah, I think the story is good, and it the pace of the movie moves along at a fast enough pace to where You don't get bored or anything like that. And how they filmed it and the texture of it and how it looks and how it feels, the atmosphere that's created is what sucked me in. It's like, you know, it was like, to me, it was a time warp type thing, you know?
Yeah. And it really gets you into the movie. And I was watching today and still into it. Like,
yeah.
You know, what do you think of the casting, Tony?
Oh man, the casting is top notch, especially for a couple of people here that are just getting their feet wet, so to speak, but would end up having enormous careers. I mean, between Spacey and Guy, is it Guy Pearce?
Yeah, Guy Pearce.
And oh my God, my mind just went blank. Oh my God. And Russell Crowe. I mean, I like Russell Crowe. Of course, believe it or not, it was Virtuosity that made me a fan of Russell Crowe before Gladiator. But and anything Kim Basinger's in, I'm freaking there. I mean, I've been in love with her since 12-year-old or 12-year-old me saw Never Say Never Again. So you know.
Oh, same here. Same here.
So, I mean,
she's amazing.
You know, the fact that she was Vicky Vale. Oh yeah.
And look, she's been
so yeah.
So many memorable movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say casting was top notch. The timepiece, I'm just basically repeating what y'all said, but it's true. I mean, the setting, the noir, it was freaking perfect. I mean, it was just perfect.
On this script, I could have saw like Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall in this movie.
Yeah,
with the same kind of feel to it. Like with when you see Russell Crowe, her and Russell Crowe have some nice chemistry. He's like this officer that's kind of rough around the edges. But there's something about him she likes. Like, and you can tell the first time he sees her, which is an amazing scene when he like tells her Merry Christmas, and she said, "Merry Christmas to you, officer." He goes, "Is that obvious?" He goes, "Yeah, you might as well have it written on your forehead."
It was pretty obvious.
Like Russell Crowe is like, you definitely see there's like something else wrong. There's not that there's anything wrong with him, but he does not like. And I mean, I don't think nobody should like it, you know, honestly, but he likes to take down dudes that beat up women.
And
yeah, that happens. That happens into what, like the first scene?
Yeah, he's sitting there watching this house because the guy. He said this guy's going to break parole. He's already on parole for hitting his wife. So it's like around Christmas time, in the beginning of the movie, and he's got like this plastic Santa sleigh with lights on it on the roof of their house. And he goes there, pulls. He calls the squad. He calls them at the station. He goes, "Bring a roller down here. We got a suspect. We won't be here, but you'll see him." And he pulls the damn sled off, that plastic Santa sled off the roof. He goes, "Who are you?" He goes, "I'm the ghost of Christmas past." And he just beats the brakes off this guy and then handcuffs him to the rail. Yep. And he gets his wife. He says, "You got somewhere to go?" And he hands it. He gets the keys and the guy's wallet out of his pocket and hands it to her. He says, "All right, just go somewhere and get out of here."
Yeah.
And so that you already tell he does not like people like this, and rightfully so. But you find out later it's because his mom was beat to death by his dad when he was a kid. So it's kind of like he's got a dark past. So you got him.
He's got that chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, and Kim Basinger, see, those two kind of like meet like two ships in the night, and she's kind of a broken person too. She came out here to be an actress and wanted to make it big, and she ended up doing this escort thing, and it's just went a different way for her. They both want to get out of here. Because he's like, when there's a fight at the beginning of the movie, right? They bring in these suspects that assaulted these police officers, and when they bring them in, it gets worse. One of them says, "Oh yeah, they roughed him up a little bit," and then the next guy says, "I heard that one guy lost 6 pints of blood, and the other one's on life support." And they get madder and madder, and they're all drinking because there's a Christmas party going on. So you got off-duty police officers. They go there and beat the shit out of these guys.
Oh man!
And Guy Pearce tries to stop him because he's like a straight-laced cop. So Russell Crowe, even Kevin Spacey's trying to get out of it. He gets accidentally punched and then throws a punch, so he gets in trouble. But Guy Pearce uses this. Yeah, Mississippi Burning is a great movie, like fantastic. We might review that one day. I should have done it, but we'll do it one of these days. It's one of my favorite Gene Hackman movies, by the way. But he uses this to further his career, like because he's like a uniformed police officer. But after this fight, he tells them, "I'll tell you what they want to know." And the guys, "Are you sure you want to rat on people in the department?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm sure I want to do it." And he says, but I want to be a detective lieutenant.
Yep.
So he gets to be a lieutenant detective or whatever. And I don't know. I'm trying to tell everybody what's going on. We'll play a couple of clips here of, well, I don't know if I'm prepared to play these, but we'll play one that kind of gives you an idea of the kind of police officer Russell Crowe is at first.
That's a trope, though, or not a trope, but that's kind of a true thing in the policing world. If you have an agency of any size and they tap you as a sergeant and they say, hey, you're going to be an internal affairs sergeant, nobody really wants that job because of the jacket that comes with it. You're the rat, you're the, whatever. So it's not a fun job because you wind up exposing people that you've worked with for their wrongdoings.
Sometimes they have a nickname for them called the Rat Squad.
Yeah, Rat Squad, all that stuff. And so that usually it's unspoken that if you carry out your duties as an IA sergeant and you do it well for X amount of time, there's not really a given time, but it's usually about a year, maybe a year and change. After that, you will make lieutenant if you want.
Yeah, he kind of could ride his own ticket. Well, see, he's riding that he's like more straight laced. But I downloaded these clips so you could get a kind of a idea of what Detective Bud White, kind of, you know what I mean. He kind of plays a little fast and loose with the procedure. Before this, although he just did see a girl that was half naked, tied up, that they had been assaulting. And this, so like, if I got to set up, like, he didn't just shoot this guy in cold blood for no reason. You know what I'm saying? They had been assault. He'd been holding this girl tied to a bed, and he just saw her before he goes into this room. So he shoots him. Doesn't even, like, the guy's not drawing a weapon on or anything. So what he does is, of course, he's got a burner weapon on him. Yeah, it does take a lot of off. Yeah, I'd say, I mean, yeah, it would be a necessary function, but like you see there, and I don't know if I'm allowed to be showing people get blown away like that on the YouTube, but we just did. But
it's a movie.
Yeah, I mean, it is a movie. So like Guy Pearce doesn't like him anyway. They don't like each other anyway because he ratted his buddy out, right? Mm-hmm. So what happens is there's a massacre at this coffee shop called the Night Owl, and Guy Pearce is the first detective on the scene. And he could tell the crime scene's different. Like, the guy behind the counters pulled a pistol, probably kicked off the whole shooting. He's dead. He sees a blood drag all the way going to the back to the men's room. You go back there and there's like 6 bodies piled up. Somebody's shotgunned to death. So what the cops do is, and basically they might as well, there's a part where he says, I want you to use every bit of force you guys know how to go after these 3 black individuals that were heard that they rumored they were firing shotguns off. That's all they got to go on. But what he says, the way he says it to them, Guy Pearce is like, you might as well just put a bounty on their head.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and they also found it. Yeah.
He knows, because again, it's the 50s, you know?
Yeah.
So the Guy Pearce's character is the straight-laced guy, but he's like the more progressive guy, you know. He's the one that's like, cops need to do it by the book, or else what are we doing here, you know?
Yeah. And also, so what happens is, one of the people that was dead at the Night Owl massacre was Russell Crowe's ex-partner, and a girl that Russell Crowe had ran into that had plastic surgery and thought she'd been beat up earlier in the movie. And so, but instead of like investigating that, because what you're finding out also, there's another plot going on. Mickey Cohen, the gangster, had been taking over the drug trade in Los Angeles. He gets convicted as the first of the movie for like 10 years. And there's these guys trying to fill the vacuum of power, right, Jeff? Yeah. So they're trying to get in on the heroin rackets. And these guys keep getting killed. And you think that James Cromwell's character is just trying to keep them out of L.A. to keep drugs out of L.A. But no. We find out later that he's the one who wanted to take over Mickey Cohen's rackets. You know what I mean? I always say, you know what I mean? Like I'm fucking Ernest Goes to Camp. You know what I mean, Vern? Hey, hey, Aaron. We got to do There Will Be Blood. Oh, I think that's
Didn't we do No Country for Old Men already?
Yeah, we did that one. We did
and
that.
I believe that's Coen Brothers, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We did the movie then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to do more because the Coen Brothers are awesome.
Yeah, their movies are fantastic.
Hey, Callie. So anyway, though, I'm trying not to get too much into the plot here. We'll get to the point though where, like, okay, Guy Pearce catches these guys, right? And then he starts getting the feeling like, wait a minute, I don't think these guys killed these people. Yeah, they had this girl tied up. They're guilty of that, but I don't think they murdered these 5 people in this cafe, in this coffee shop. And then at the same time, Russell Crowe's trying to look at independent because Russell Crowe got hired back, but as James Cromwell's muscle. He said, I don't want you doing any cases. You're just going to be basically beating people up and intimidating them. He doesn't really like doing that no more. He crosses after the case with Kim Basinger's character. They kind of fall in love. And so I'm trying to get to this plot because I want to play these clips for you. Then they send Guy Pearce in her direction, and she's paid by her pimp to seduce him, and she's forced to do it. So Danny DeVito's character can take pictures of them and send them to Russell Crowe because they're like, this guy's getting too close to the case. Let's show Russell Crowe these pictures of him sleeping with her, and he'll kill him for us. But he talks them out of it. But like, so I'm trying to set up these clips. Before that, you hear him talking to Kevin Spacey about a guy named Rollo Tomasi. And we'll play a couple of these clips.
Rollo Tomasi.
And then Kevin Spacey's like, what the fuck does that mean?
Rollo was a purse snatcher. My father ran into him off duty.
Well, spoiler alert, his father tried to chase him off duty and he got murdered. And they never caught the guy. So as a kid, they put a name to the guy that did it. He called him Rollo Tomasi. And to him, Rollo Tomasi is just the guy that when somebody escapes justice, just like in general, it's kind of like when something's like in Chinatown, the movie, when something's fucked up, he said, what can you do? It's Chinatown. It's just like something they used in the 30s as a term. And then this one's just like Rollo Tomasi. Like, well, we can't catch the murderer. Rollo Tomasi. That's the way he does it. And then like Kevin Spacey's like, I'm afraid you're going to have to elaborate. And he tells him about this dad. And then I'll play it.
Is there more to that, or am I supposed to guess?
More of that, or am I supposed to guess? And then we get this one too.
No one even knew who he was. I just made the name up to give him some personality.
Man, okay. We got a couple more clips of this.
It was supposed to be about justice. Then somewhere.
Here he goes. I joined the police. I didn't really join the police force for all this glory. He was like, he says,
it was supposed to be about justice. Then somewhere along the way, I lost sight of that.
And then he asked the one part that's really interesting, though, because Kevin Spacey is kind of cut corners, and he basically got this young man killed. It was an actor. So he's like living with this guilt. And he asked Kevin Spacey, what did you become a police officer for? And he said,
I don't remember.
Damn.
So what happens is we're going to try to get these clips out of the way because I want to just get to this part right here. So they're all looking for the same thing, and Kevin Spacey goes away. And he tells Guy Pearce's character, "Look, I'm gonna chase this lead down." And then he finds a lead. He goes to tell the captain about it at his home, And he's just like casually talking to him. He thinks, okay, this is like, this guy's going to listen to me, right? And then this is what happens to him.
What does Exley make of all this?
No, I haven't told him yet. I just came straight from the records room.
Dang. Plot twist.
And what's crazy about that part is Cromwell just gets close to his face and like watches him like breathing his last breath, and he says, "You got a benediction?" And I guess he's talking about like if you're Catholic or something, you're gonna die. And hey, Mental Health. And we haven't done Usual Suspects either. He looks, because after Kevin Spacey, the scene we showed before, he looks Cromwell in the eye and he says, "Rollo Tomasi." And then he dies. So James Cromwell's character is like, Rollo Tomasi must be the informant that gave him this information when he connected all the dots together, that I'm the guy trying to get the heroin and run the rackets that Mickey Cohen had.
Yeah.
So when they he goes in there and says, "We found Officer Vincent, that's Spacey's character's body, in like Echo Park or somewhere, and like his body was dropped there, and we want you to go out and look." He's gonna basically pin his murder on somebody else, some dumbass schmuck out there that doesn't know him better, that doesn't know he's getting ready to be. But then after the press conference, he walks up to Guy Pearce and he says, "Do you know a guy named Rollo Tomasi?" Immediately, Guy Pearce knows this motherfucker killed him.
Yeah.
Because the only person I've told that to was Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
But he knows he can't do that. This guy's a police captain, decorated, like highly decorated police captain.
And he's savvy, so he knows even though he knows he killed him, he has to figure like, how do I prove this?
Yeah. So they ends up, they put the dots together. They put all the dots together, but then they get set up and they go to the Victory Motel. Well, Russell Crowe says, "Oh, Officer Hexley's at the Victory Hotel," and it's kind of hard. This movie's one of the movies where you have to explain it to people that haven't seen it. But they go there, and he's like, Russell Crowe said, "Oh shit, he's getting set up." So he goes there, and it's funny because he's like, "You came here even though it was a setup." He goes, "Yeah, what the hell?" So they go, and then they get a shootout with Cromwell, and that's how we get to these scenes. Like, there's another scene where he's like, "I always wanted to live up to my father's legacy," and they're getting ready to get closed in on by these dirty cops. He says, "Well, you're getting ready to." He goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, your dad died in line of duty, didn't he?" So he's like kind of a gallows humor kind of joke, like, we're probably going to not make it out here.
Yeah.
And we get to the end of it, and I'll just play a couple of clips.
Rollo Tomasi.
Who is he?
You are.
And he says, "You are." Because this is a guy that's going to get away with it. He'd already wounded Russell Crowe. Yep. And so he realizes, oh, he don't got nothing on me. But then he tries to shoot Guy Pearce, and he hasn't got any bullets left. So he thinks he's going to talk his way out of this now.
You're the guy who gets away with it. Jack knew it. So do I.
Shoot me. Or arrest me.
I'd have shot his ass and then made up the story that fit.
Well, he does here at the end. Like, there you go.
Hold up your badge so they'll know you're a policeman.
And then when he turned,
why is he wearing gloves?
Yeah, they shot him. He shot him with that shotgun as soon as he turned around.
Yeah.
So then what's funny about that scene is like, you get to the part where he told him, he says, "Hold your badge up so they know you're a cop." And then he shoots him in the back with that shotgun, and then he walks to where he's at and holds his badge up like this. And so he explains to the detectives like this whole setup, and they're all like, "Oh God, this scandal is
horrible." Yeah,
this is going to be like, this is going to set the department back decades, not just like 5 years, like decades. And they said, "Well, He says, well, we could just make him a hero, you know, that he died a hero. And Guy Pearce he knows what they're talking about. And he says, you're going to need more than one hero. So they give him another Medal of Valor. And then Russell Crowe's character goes off with Kim Basinger. They're leaving town, you know, and everybody gets what they want, kind of.
Yeah.
And that's how it kind of ends. I don't know. I know I think I've rambled on too much about this. I apologize, guys.
No, you did a good job. You're trying to encapsulate a pretty complex plot, dude.
But what's great about it, though, is even though it's a complex plot, it's not hard to follow.
No. But for you to try and, so you're speaking to your audience right now, making the assumption that they haven't seen the movie, when probably most have, you know.
Okay,
because it's a pretty popular movie. But you're not talking too much.
Do we have any thoughts in the comments? Have you guys seen this movie? Let me know what you thought of LA Confidential. But I'm going to ask these guys, like, the acting in this movie, though, like that part.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask what you guys think of this. We'll go around on this one. When Kevin Spacey, like the way he gets shot too, he's like just not even paying attention to Cromwell, and then he pulls that gun on and shoots him right in the heart. But like when you see the whole scene, which obviously I can't play the whole scene or we get in trouble. He does a good job of like acting like the light's going out of his eyes, like when he dies. Like, and what he did was Kevin Spacey said he told one of the grips to put 2 big black circles on the wall behind James Cromwell's head, because he said when James Cromwell comes into my face like this, I'm going to blink. You're going to see like my eyes react. So I had this spot on the wall fixated I could look at.
Yep.
So when he come in at me, it looked like my eyes just go dead.
Yeah.
And so that, and then like also like, you know, it's kind of like I don't know. This movie is just like the 1950s to the core. I think, like I said,
you bring that little trick up that Kevin Spacey does, because some actors I've heard him say, a lot of them, matter of fact, you know how you can blur your own vision?
Yeah.
If you know, some actors have said that when I'm playing a role where I'm dying slowly and life leaves me or whatever, he says at that point, to keep my eyes from tracking things that are moving, I just purposely blur my field of vision, and I can't make things out, and it keeps my eyes just, you know, one way, and it keeps me from blinking and fucking up the scene.
Yeah. You know? Because a lot of things, you know, we do a lot of bad cinema. I've seen a lot of movies where you see the dead person blink, do a heavy sigh, but also that can also be part of like the camera work. If you got a lot of a shot, you see somebody's diaphragm moving up and down.
You can see people's carotid arteries.
Yeah, or that, like they don't know how to like shoot somebody. I look at that, you'll see like the carotid arteries still like pumping. But like another thing about this movie is I'm asking what y'all think of this, the cinematography in this movie. We kind of talked about it a minute ago, but it's just like top notch all the way. The soundtrack, they have some great like early 50s classics in it, and the costumes, like we were talking about earlier, the costumes are just phenomenal for this movie. Especially the ones Kim Basinger was wearing. Like she was always dressed to the nines, completely glamorous looking, beautiful, like classy.
Who was she supposed to be? Was she supposed to be Jane Mansfield or Marilyn? I can't remember.
No, she was supposed to be. Oh my God! I just watched the movie today. Veronica Lake.
Oh, Veronica. Okay, all right.
And actually, matter of fact, I'm gonna bring a picture of Veronica Lake up so you can like kind of tell.
Yeah, but like you say, the cinematography, the story, the characters, the plot, all of it. So I've said it before on Good Cinema. My measure of the movie is how well does it give me an escape? How far into that world do I go while I'm watching it? You know what I mean? And this is one of those movies that, you know, there's no effort to watch it. It's just enjoyment. You get sucked into it.
I thought they did a great job. Here, look at this. This is the actress Veronica Lake.
Yeah. They're pretty good.
Yeah. What's great also about this movie is like this was like one of the golden eras of Hollywood. So it's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of like you're like in the movie the way it says, even though it's gritty and there's a lot of bad stuff going on, you're like, man, it'd be cool to visit L.A. in 1953. They got all these cool locations, and kind of like that glamour that's in Hollywood. It kind of lost its sheen. You know what I mean? It's not like the same anymore. Like back then, the way like I always said too about like Hollywood, the old movie stars. We don't have anybody like that anymore. Maybe Clooney. But like I think when Burt Reynolds passed away, he was like the last of the old school movie stars, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting older.
The movie can be violent. It's got a lot of violence in it. Yes, it does. Russell Crowe beats the shit out of like 10 people in this movie. But
it's not gratuitous. Not gratuitous at all.
There's not a lot of blood, and it's integral to the plot, to be honest with you. If they didn't have that violent parts in it, there's a great scene in it that I forgot about. That like when they go to that DA, and he's like being real smug to him. So Guy Pearce and Russell Crowe are playing good cop, bad cop, right? And they go in, and that guy like is real smug, and Russell Crowe like they basically Guy Pearce like, unleashes Russell Crowe on this guy, right?
So what if some homo actor is dead, huh? Boys, girls, 10 of them get off the bus to LA every day.
I'll say this. There are some deputy district attorneys that would be fun to do that to, because they're so weak. They have no spine. They have no moral compass. All they care about is a case that's so neat and tidy and perfect with a bow tied on it that it's a guaranteed win. They won't charge other ones. Yeah, and they won't charge other ones.
Well, you know, a good example of that is the guy that they put in charge of the Manson family murders, Bela Lugosi, or what Bela Lugosi, I think is his name. Lugosi or something is his name, but like he wrote
Bela Lugosi.
Yeah. Not Bela Lugosi, but like, Lugosi or something. You know what I'm talking about. He was writing the book Helter Skelter while the trial was still going on, Jeff. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, I'm going to be famous over this. Yeah. And like, that's just the kind of stuff like me that's kind of like sleazy to me. But when he says about there'll be 10 more off the bus again, and when he talks about that actor dying, Russell Crowe, I get this clip, but he like put him under the toilet bowl like 2 or 3 times. He goes, you know what? District attorneys are a dime a dozen too. If I drown you in this toilet bowl right now, there'll be 10 more to replace you. They may not come off a bus, but they will replace you. At this point, they're like sick of this shit. They want, and this is how they tie it down. Because he admits to all the stuff that they already suspected because they had a hunch. And I guess a lot of times though in police work, sometimes before you prove your case, right, Jeff? It's just a hunch sometimes, right?
Yeah, you have a hunch, or you have evidence that's circumstantial, so you have to chase down whatever leads you have.
So you got to put the dots together. Like
because
thing over here.
Yes, you never want to force a suspect to meet your the criteria of your evidence. It's the other way around. You have to because it's a tough thing, because it's better for 10 guilty people to get away than it is for one person to be convicted if they're innocent. I mean, because that's the worst thing. That's the way we look at it as cops, or if you're a good cop anyway.
Well, you got to live with that too. Like if you're like this guy, you got to be sure.
Especially big cases like murder cases. Sexual assault, stuff like that.
Yeah. Now I know that. I mean, we'll ask you. I know you weren't in law enforcement in the 1950s.
No,
but did that do a good job, you think, of portraying police officers? I know sometimes they get it real wrong in these movies.
So yeah, I can't really speak to what it was like in 1950s, but it's pretty damn believable to me because I know the rules were a lot looser back then. Because as time goes by, law enforcement progresses. It constantly progresses. Body cams now, and this, that, and the other. Because you absolutely do have to have somebody who watches the police. You have to have an oversight body of any organization that's got power. It's just the way it is. If you don't do that, or there's nobody there to look or see, bad shit happens. Corruption will happen. It's just impossible to stop.
There's going to be like a few people that probably don't need to be, like my dad. There's some people that I was in the Marine Corps with that totally did not need to be in the Marine Corps because they just enjoyed killing people too much. Like,
yeah, I only had a 15-year career in policing, and over that 15 years, there was 3 different deputies that I know of that were arrested for various crimes and lost their job. And it's like, it always comes as a shock because you figure, oh, I thought he was a good cop. Little did I know.
yeah, it's kind of like the serial killer though, where they're like, the neighbors like, oh, they were so quiet. They never bothered anybody.
Yeah.
You got to watch the quiet ones sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah, Fable, you're right. Like a lot of like you see the movies about like Serpico, and like even King of New York, or not King of New York. What was the name of that movie with Denzel Washington? Oh my God, the King of what? You know what I'm talking about. He was a real drug dealer in New York. American Gangster.
Yeah, American Gangster.
Well,
Frank,
a lot of people were on the tape in these forces, like in the early 70s, 60s, and in the 50s, and it's and a lot of times when you beat a confession out of somebody like that, were they really guilty?
Yeah, you can't. That's no way.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's no way to do it because there's much easier ways.
Yeah,
I mean, I've been to advanced interrogation school, and there's so many different. The only time it becomes difficult to get a confession is if you're dealing with a sociopath or a psychopath.
Yeah,
because they don't respond to the normal stimuli.
and also there's a great. I'm going to use one of my fancy words. There's a great dichotomy between characters, but like Russell Crowe's character, Bud White, is the old school way of doing things. Guy Pearce is trying to do it the new school way, like through advanced interrogation methods, right? Like he's interrogating those boys because they were trying to pin the Night Owl murders on them. And he's just going, okay, they told me this. They said you were the one that was going to stitch on them. You did this when you were in prison. And that they're trying to pin this all on you. But I can help you. I'm your friend, trying to do that.
There's different things you could do.
And then Russell, he started talking about that woman they had tied up. And Russell Crowe loses his shit, goes in there and pulls a gun out, takes all the bullet shells out except one, puts one in, spins it, sticks it in the guy's mouth, and starts going click. So, and he told him, he probably told him what kind of underwear he was wearing at that point, and what he did in the third grade, what bad things he did, whatever. But yeah, so it's like a different
the whole premise of roughing somebody up to get the truth, it doesn't work.
No, it's why I always talk about that. Like, remember they called them when we were in the War on Terror, advanced interrogation methods. Well, you do that shit to me, I will tell you. Yeah, I will. Yeah, it was torture. But if you do that to me, I'm going to tell you what you want to know just to make it stop going on.
Yep. What do you want to hear?
Yeah, I'll tell you. You know what? I'll tell you that I was in Mary Poppins. I was a little kid in Mary Poppins. Yeah, I planned the Oklahoma City bombing. Yeah, I did it all. So I didn't personally. I was like in high school when that happened. So don't everybody call the police on me. It was Timothy McVeigh did all that. But what a piece of shit that guy is. But anyway, I really enjoyed the movie. We're going to go ahead and rate it, and I'll let Tony start and tell me why he gives it the rating he gave it.
Well, honestly, it's been a long time since I watched the movie, but I still remember it. I'm just a sucker for noir photo, the dark, gritty noir movies. So it was easy to fall in love with it. And like I said, I went into it because Kim Basinger was in it and got to meet a lot of really cool actors. That was just freaking awesome, dude. I mean, and it ended up being a really great movie, and I need to buy it.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I will say this. I will say this, between that and Titanic, as much as I love L.A. Confidential. That wasn't a movie I went to the theaters and watched 7 times. I'm sorry, but I'm a Titanic buff.
It's all right. It's all good. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
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 Fable, I still have a crush on her.
And here you go. And like, you know what? Since you guys had a crush on her, we'll show a couple more pictures of her one more time. Just look at the way they got her. That's just like beautiful. She was just beautiful, this movie. She's just beautiful anyway. But she's like a classical. She was always a classical beauty, in my opinion. And I think my opinion's right.
I'm unforgiven, Aaron.
Unforgiven. All right, Jeff, what do you think of this movie?
Yeah, I give it, for me, it's a 10 out of 10. But that's no shade on Titanic, because Titanic was a Titanic movie. It was a great movie. But the reason why I rate it so high is because I'm big on like atmosphere and like how well did they do the sets and the shots, you know what I mean, with the vehicles, and like you were talking about the hairstyles and the way they talk and the way they dress, costuming, all that stuff. I think that LA Confidential was like a master class in all that stuff, you know. And you said that they use that specific type of fisheye 35 millimeter recording camera or something like that to give the movie a certain texture, the visual, the actual what comes on the screen, a certain texture and color, and to me it felt like what the 50s in my mind would be, if that makes sense. But because how could I know? I never lived in the 50s, but
yeah, give us a couple of lines there, Tony. Near.
No. You'll come close. Hey, you'll come closer to hearing me sing "Nearer to my God to Thee" than you will with that.
I might sing "In the God of the Vita" or something later, but I'm going to give it like Jeff said, 10 to 10, 5 stars, 2 thumbs up, whatever the hell. This was like one of the first movies I saw Russell Crowe in, and I knew he was going to be a good actor. When I saw him, I was like, immediately when I saw him in this Gladiator, I don't remember Virtuosity as much until later, but I was like, this guy's got it. Whatever it is, you know. And Guy Pearce is a great actor. I know there's a lot of controversial surrounding Kevin Spacey now, but the one thing you can say about Kevin Spacey is the man can flat out act.
Yeah.
And everything he's been in, he's one of those actors. Like for my stepdad, it was Gene Hackman. If Gene Hackman was in a movie, he said that movie's going to be pretty good. Even if the rest of the movie's bad, Gene Hackman, I guarantee, will be good in it. The same thing with Kevin Spacey. If he's in a movie, you know, I know like sometimes you got to separate. Like sometimes in the case of Bill Cosby, some people it's hard to separate it. But like sometimes you got to like just. You know what? I don't like Gene Simmons personally, but I love Kiss. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
So I can still not like him as a Kevin Spacey as a human being, and still say this guy's a great actor. Maybe he's a great actor because he's a creep. I don't know, but he's just a great actor. And you know, so many great movies. But like, you know, it's just in a great ensemble cast. I don't know what else to say about this movie. I think we've like gave this movie all the flowers we could possibly give it at this point. So.
Yeah.
I do have some announcements though. Next week for Good Cinema, we're going to be reviewing Beverly Hills Cop Part 1 with Eddie Murphy, Judge Reinhold, and Paul Reiser, I think, is in it too. And then Bad Cinema will be Monday, and we're reviewing Hercules from 1983, starring Lou Ferrigno. But I do have some more announcements. We have my next Friday Night Frights is not this week because Tony's doing Friday Night Frights this Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're doing the movie Near Dark, starring Lance Henriksen and Bill Paxton. Great movie. I think it's better than Lost Boys, actually, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And then the week after that, for Friday Night Frights, I will be reviewing Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So get ready. Does anybody like Fable? Aaron? Psychotronic? If you want to be a part of Maximum Overdrive in 2 weeks for Friday Night Frights, hit me up. And then we got.
Hey, you want to talk about soundtracks? Maximum Overdrive.
I don't know what times you're going to be because me and Fable I think are going to be on some of the sci-fi fest with pop culture philosophers. I think, right, Fable, if you were still there. But anyway, we'll work around the schedules for that because it's going to be a lot of movie reviews for me coming up. But and this for Bad Cinema next month. The first one we have on the list is Avenging Force, starring Michael Dudikoff from Canon Pictures. So that should be fun. And then also the Delta Force, starring Chuck Norris and Lee Marvin.
Yep.
And then we will review the original Masters of the Universe movie starring Dolph Lundgren. And we'll end the month with Captain America 1990. Yeah. And for good cinema, though, you're all going to be excited about good cinema next month because it's going to be a banger after banger. Our first movie will be Point Break, starring Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves. And yeah. And then the movie after that will be a little movie starring Kim Cattrall and Kurt Russell. And we're going to be reviewing Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, that's my favorite, man.
And then after that, in the third week of February, we're going to be reviewing The Warriors Come Out and Play. Yay. And we're going to end the month reviewing a Harrison Ford film directed by Ridley Scott. I think you know where this is going. Blade Runner. So, yeah, I'm going to send you the link. I will send you the link, Aaron, right after we end the show. Actually, I'll do it right now because I'm going to ask Tony and Jeff if they got any announcements they want to make. Yeah, I told you, Fable, we're trying to do it right this year. We're going for the jugular on bad cinema and good cinema. So we're going to do real bad, real good. All right. Yeah, I'll send you the link. And Tony, you got anything you want to talk about?
The great news is I got it. I got my QA position. The bad news is I'm gonna miss a lot of those good and bad cinemas.
That's all right. Well, I can figure something out.
And then, this weekend Snowmageddon may be upon us in Arkansas. They're forecasting 14 to 24 inches. If I have power and internet, and I do get snowed in and called off from work, I may do a special snowed out episode of the live show for Saturday night. And then, like you said, Friday Night Frights is going to be near dark, and then we'll just go from there. And because I was really hoping that one of these days I could talk you into doing Rad.
I'm going to one of these days. It's going to be bad cinema though. Rad. You talk about the
I love that movie.
BMX movie.
The BMX. Yeah, that's my favorite childhood movie.
You know what I thought about doing for bad cinema once? Speaking of 80s movies, Gleaming the Cube.
Oh, dude, good luck trying to find a copy. I ain't been able to find it anywhere.
I know. I don't even think it's in print anymore. There's another one with Josh Brolin's in it, skater. What's it called?
Oh, Thrashing.
Thrashing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Gleaming the Cube had a lot of like real skaters in it.
Yeah. Now I've been told it goes by another name, but I don't know what the other name is.
All right. Well, guys, we're going to end the show right there. If you've not seen LA Confidential, I highly recommend it. And if you haven't seen it, I apologize because I ruined the entire plot of the movie. But it's been 30 years. You should have seen it by now. All right. Anyway, well, unless you're like 18 or something, you probably don't even know what we're talking about. But if you're not, just try to forget everything we said, and then you can watch it. All right. But anyway, I got the Sunday Super Show extravaganza. It'll be Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to talk about the new Comic Book Day previews. And we got some big books coming out this week. We got Absolute Batman 16 and Absolute Wonder Woman 16 coming out next week. So, and we had a big Comic Book Day this week, too. But anyway, and then, next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, my guest will be Coffee Monster on Comic Conversations. Sabrina's her name. All right. Until next time, true believers, Excelsior, and keep watching good movies.
Come, son of Jarrell! Kneel before Zod! Snoochie boochies.